Beijing 211 graduate reportedly starves to death in Xi'an rental apartment. Multiple flash explosions cause large craters on roads in Anshan, Liaoning. Mainland vegetable prices hit 10-year high, 12 out of 15 types rise in Shandong. China's steel overcapacity spreads global impact, Shanghai traders losing hope. Foreign investment in China plummets 30% in first 7 months. CCP aircraft carrier catches fire, suffers severe damage likely irreparable. Explosion on YM Mobility, Ningbo port temporarily closed, businesses fear global supply chain impact. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Beijing 211 graduate reportedly starves to death in Xi'an rental apartment. On August 17, the WeChat account Xinhuan published a widely circulated article revealing the tragic story of a 33-year-old female who allegedly starved to death in her Xi'an rental apartment. The article titled "A Girl from Out of Town Died in My Rental Apartment," which quickly spread both domestically and internationally. The author, who claims to be a landlord working in Xinjiang, describes how the tenant's quiet and unnoticed passing highlights a greater societal issue. The deceased was a girl from a poor mountain village in Ningbo, aged 33. She was an outstanding student from a young age and the pride of her family and village. After graduating from high school, she lived up to expectations by getting admitted to a prestigious 211 university in Beijing. For several years after graduating, she focused on preparing for the civil service exam, often ranking first in the written tests for public institutions in her home province but consistently failing during the interview stages. After her death, the father, who came to Xi'an to handle the aftermath, told the landlady that his daughter repeatedly failed because the exams were unfair, even the top-ranked candidates aren't selected. It must be because our rural family lacks connections, and the positions were given to people with backgrounds. After losing hope of securing a government job, she began working odd jobs and recently moved to Xi'an in search of employment. However, she struggled even to feed herself, with rent being covered by money her parents borrowed from relatives. Financial records indicate that her spending was extremely frugal, with meals rarely exceeding 5 yuan, about 70 cents. In April, her mother borrowed over 10,000 yuan, about $1,400, to help pay the rent, and even after additional funds were offered in May, the woman blocked all contact with her family. Her last known activity was on May 20th, after which there was no evidence of her leaving the apartment, ordering food, or cooking. On June 3, the landlord received a power outage notice due to unpaid bills. Attempts to contact the tenant resulted in a delayed response stating that there was nothing in the fridge. On June 25, following reports of a strong odor, the property management found her body in an advanced state of decomposition, confirming through DNA tests that it was indeed her. Authorities estimate her death occurred around June 15 and suspect she died of starvation. The woman's family, burdened by financial strain, quickly settled the matter after receiving some compensation from the landlord and departed Xi'an. Her father, deeply grieved, reportedly planned to dispose of her ashes due to local customs that prohibit unmarried women from being buried in ancestral plots. After packing up her belongings, he threw them into a street-side trash can. The article's portrayal of the tragic contrast between her early promise and the harsh reality of unemployment has resonated with many, with some speculating that this was the final breaking point. While the article's narrative is written with literary flair, many readers believe the story is based on true events and have expressed deep sympathy. The tragedy has brought attention to the growing issue of educated youth struggling to find work amidst China's economic slowdown. Scenes of university graduates sleeping rough in cities like Guangzhou and Shenzhen have become increasingly common, reflecting the severe challenges they face in today's job market. Multiple flash explosions cause large craters on roads in Anshan, Liaoning. Multiple and unexpected flash explosions occurred at the intersection of Jiefeng West Road and Fengsheng Street in Tieshi District, Anshan City, Liaoning Province, on the morning of August 17. Footage shared online by residents and a video posted by a netizen show the explosions with smoke billowing and sections of the road bulging. This led some netizens to speculate that an underground pipeline explosion might have been the cause, evidenced by several manhole covers being blown off simultaneously, noting several manhole covers were blown off simultaneously along the road, causing severe damage. Ms. Liu, a local business owner whose shop is located near the explosion site, described debris falling around her as the blast occurred around 10:30 a.m. She was outside her shop at the time and rushed inside to ensure her child's safety, finding no injuries. Investigations into the explosion were reported by the Tieshi District Emergency Management Bureau, stating that the incident occurred at 10:34 a.m. with no injuries. Meanwhile, the cause of the explosion remains under scrutiny. In response to safety concerns, Anshan Gas Company initiated emergency pipeline repairs, expecting to restore gas supply by 7 p.m., as confirmed through their customer service hotline. The Xi'an Morning Post reported that the Anshan Fire and Rescue Brigade declined to disclose the specific cause of the explosion. The official response triggered widespread discussion among netizens. Some netizens analyzed the situation, stating, "In summer, it's not just underground gas pipelines that can explode, even underground sewers can cause flash explosions if hydrogen sulfide and methane reach high concentrations. The force can blow manhole covers dozens of meters. Without pressure relief, a stronger explosion could tear up the road. Thick sludge buildup in sewers can create excessive decaying matter, producing highly flammable biogas." Mainland vegetable prices hit 10-year high, 12 out of 15 types rise in Shandong. Haibao News reported a significant rise in vegetable prices across multiple regions in China. From June 16 to August 15, the national wholesale price for 28 key vegetables monitored by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs increased from 4.27 yuan, about $0.63 per kilogram to 6.01 yuan, about 90 cents USD, marking a 40.7% rise. During the week of July 22 to 28, prices peaked at 4.91 yuan, about $0.69 per kilogram, the highest in nearly a decade. Excessive rainfall this summer, including heavy rains, thunderstorms, and strong convective systems in provinces like Hunan, Shandong, Anhui, and Sichuan, has led to reduced vegetable yields. The severe weather damaged roads and disrupted the harvesting, transport, and delivery of vegetables, contributing to shortages and further price increases. Sina Finance reported that the surge in vegetable prices has surpassed that of fruits, meats, poultry, eggs, and dairy, primarily due to the seasonal heat and rains. Hong Tao, vice president of the China Consumer Economics Association, reported that on August 12, prices for 24 types of vegetables at Beijing's Infati agricultural products wholesale market increased while 9 decreased, setting a record high for recent years. In Shandong, 12 out of 15 tracked vegetables have seen price increases. Green beans, a local favorite, now sells for over 7 yuan. Market vendors like Qinchang from Kilipa Market in Jinan note significant rises, with cucumbers reaching over 7 yuan per gene recently, about 98 cents per 0.5 kilogram. Lini residents report that green beans have become particularly unaffordable, selling for over 8 yuan per gene, about $1.12 per 0.5 kilogram. The sharp price increases have led to reduced purchases, impacting consumer behavior. Netizens across Hebei, Shaanxi, Beijing, Hunan, and Liaoning have expressed their frustration with the escalating prices. Vegetables that traditionally sold for much less during the summer are now as expensive as winter prices, with some residents noting it's cheaper to eat meat than vegetables due to the high cost of produce like cucumbers, which have risen significantly. These rising prices have become a considerable burden for many households, sparking a broader discussion on the economic impact and the role of inflation in the escalating costs of living. China's steel overcapacity spreads global impact, Shanghai traders losing hope. China's steel output, now exceeding 1 billion tons annually, accounts for over half of the global total. Amid the country's ongoing real estate slump, domestic construction demand has dwindled, leading to a surplus of steel. Globally, this oversupply raises fears of dumping, driving down prices and forcing factories to shut down, resulting in mass layoffs. Earlier this year, U.S. President Joe Biden, in a speech to the United Steelworkers Union, called for higher tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum, citing the dangers posed by Beijing's overcapacity. Economic advisor Lael Brainerd emphasized that this overproduction threatens the future of U.S. steel and aluminum industries. The U.S. has since started implementing measures to curb Chinese steel imports through third countries like Mexico. In China, weak demand and excess capacity have led to a surge in loss-making companies. As of June, over 2,300 companies reported losses, marking a 33% increase from last year. Shanghai trader Yu Yongzhang, who sells steel piles for construction foundations, noted that falling prices have squeezed profits, saying, "I'm barely making any money this year due to weak demand in China." This week, Hu Wangming, head of China Baowu Steel Group, warned of a severe winter ahead for the steel industry. On August 15, Zhang Rui, general manager of Shaanxi Jianbang Group, suggested on social media that over 30% of the industry's workforce needs to be cut to overcome current challenges. Wu Wenzhang, founder of Shanghai Steel Home e-commerce company, with 40 years in the industry, said, "China's steel demand has peaked and will likely see a steady decline from here." As domestic steel prices plunge, exports have become more attractive. The current price of hot-rolled coil exports from China is the lowest since 2020. China's export volume in the first half of this year is on track to reach nearly 100 million tons, matching the entire steel output of North America. Germany's Salzgitter AG, in its semi-annual report, blamed overcapacity and Chinese exports for its losses, echoing similar concerns raised by Europe's largest steelmaker, ArcelorMittal SA. Martin Thüringer, managing director of the German Steel Federation, stated, "Warnings from China, the CCP, show that our worst fears are being realized." In Chile, the government quickly imposed new tariffs on Chinese imports to keep Cap SA's blast furnace running. However, after suffering massive losses, the plant had to shut down. In recent years, Latin America has seen a surge in cheap Chinese imports. At the end of the 20th century, China exported only 80,500 tons of steel annually to the region. By last year, that number had skyrocketed to nearly 10 million tons. Daniel Ray, head of Colombia's Steel Industry Association, described the situation as increasingly critical and urged the government to implement protective measures. Foreign investment in China plummets 30% in first 7 months. Recent statistics reveal a significant downturn in foreign investment in China. On Friday, August 16, the Ministry of Commerce of the CCP disclosed on its official website that during the same period, 31,654 new foreign-invested enterprises were established in China, marking an 11.4% increase year-on-year. However, the total utilized foreign capital amounted to only 539.47 billion yuan, about $998.2 million US dollars, reflecting a steep decline of 29.6%. Further, in a press conference held by the Information Office of the State Council of the CCP, a Commerce Ministry official announced plans to revise and release an updated negative list for foreign investment access. The new regulations aim to ease investment restrictions and completely remove barriers to manufacturing investments. However, observers question the reliability of the CCP's official data, suggesting potential underreporting and citing the regime's history of obscuring unfavorable information and reversing policies unpredictably. This skepticism is compounded by a cautious outlook on the CCP's promises to stimulate foreign investment. Earlier data from the State Administration of Foreign Exchange on August 9 noted a $14.8 billion reduction in direct investments from foreign enterprises during the second quarter of the year. the data shows a more significant capital outflow for factory construction and mergers than inflows, with the outflow surpassing the $12.1 billion negative growth recorded from July to September 2023, the first since data collection began in 1998. Nikkei's Chinese edition reports that prolonged economic stagnation in China, driven by weak domestic demand, is further dampening foreign investors' enthusiasm, leading to an escalating trend of capital withdrawal from mainland China. CCP aircraft carrier catches fire, suffers severe damage, likely irreparable. A former Soviet Kiev-class aircraft carrier, the Minsk, now owned by a Chinese company, caught a massive fire on August 16 while undergoing dismantling and transformation in Jiangsu. The fire, which started during the day, continued raging uncontrollably into the night, producing massive flames and thick black smoke. The blaze severely damaged the carrier, burning through 4 to 5 decks and causing the superstructure, mast, and part of the funnel to char and collapse. Nearly all the radar and communication equipment on the superstructure was destroyed. The incident has raised concerns about whether the vessel, originally slated to be transformed into a CCP National Defense Education Base and open to the public in October, might now be considered a total loss. The Nantong City Fire Rescue Brigade in Jiangsu Province reported the incident on their official Weibo, confirming that there were no casualties. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. The Minsk was commissioned in 1978 and served as a mainstay in the Soviet Navy, being the second ship of the Kiev class. It was sold as scrap to South Korea's Daewoo Heavy Industries in 1995. After changing hands between two Chinese companies post-1998, it was towed to Jiangsu for transformation in 2016. The renovation work, delayed due to financial issues, only started in March this year. Explosion on YM Mobility, Ningbo port temporarily closed, businesses fear global supply chain impact. On August 9, an explosion and fire occurred on the YM Mobility, a vessel belonging to Yangming Marine Transport, while docked at the Bailuan Phase 3 terminal of Ningbo port. The incident, involving a container filled with hazardous materials like lithium batteries and butylparaben, led to no casualties but prompted the closure of the terminal. Initial estimates placed the financial damages between $1.5 million and $9.5 million. Authorities suggest that the explosion, likely caused by organic peroxides, may necessitate a 3-month repair period for the ship, with overall losses potentially surpassing the ship's value. In response, Yangming has deployed 6 tugboats and teams of experts from the International Group of P&I clubs, ship classification societies, and notaries to manage the situation. The company's technical staff are working non-stop at the site to evaluate the effects on the ship's safety and functionality. This disruption at Ningbo port, one of the world's busiest with a 2023 throughput of 33.35 million 20-foot equivalent units, TEUs, exacerbates existing supply chain issues. According to Container Exchange, the closure heightens problems already intensified by Typhoon Gami in July. Christian Roelofs, CEO of Container Exchange, said that this event, along with ongoing congestion at major Asian ports, could deteriorate shipping schedules further and delay container availability. He advised companies to brace for increased dwell times, potential rerouting, and scarce container supplies, particularly for hazardous materials. Zero Hedge reports that this shutdown comes at a critical time, just as shippers are ramping up acquisitions of holiday goods in anticipation of autumn supply chain interruptions. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.